We have the freedom to live anywhere in the world. Mexico, Colombia, Tokyo, Bali, New York, Hawaii, literally anywhere on the planet. So out of anywhere, we chose this. Portugal.
And we're not alone. Over the past 5 years, Portugal has seen a boom in immigration. So what is it about this small country that is attracting all these people, including us?
Hey everyone, welcome back on this week's episode on Nations Without Borders. I'm Eric.
And I am Josine. And for the past 9 years, we've been living the digital nomad dream. We work remotely and can live anywhere.
But when it came time to choose a home base and settle down, we had to figure out what we wanted out of a country. What were all the things that were important to us? And with literally anywhere in the world, we landed on Portugal.
And trust us, we get the question all the time. Why Portugal? If you can live everywhere, why here?
Well, today we're pulling back the curtain and we're going to reveal all the surprisingly practical reasons why we chose Portugal and why it might just be the perfect country for your next home base. So let's go. So you see the beautiful scenery and the awesome activities. Portugal is definitely stunning.
But it's more than just pretty pictures. For us, it was about a place that fits our lifestyle, our future home, something that fits with our family goals.
Exactly. It wasn't just a random pick. It was a very deliberate and intentional decision based on a whole bunch of factors. So let's get into reason number one. All right, kicking it off with reason number one, and that is time zone. In terms of time zone, Portugal works out really well for us. I work American hours on the West Coast, which is about an 8 hours difference from Lisbon, Portugal. 8 hours, what that allows me to do is I have all of my morning and the early afternoon free to do whatever I want. So it's almost like a productivity hack for me because I can do way more throughout my day and then I work the evenings back in the US. So I can go to the gym, I cook breakfast, I can take my time, I don't feel rushed, I can work on side projects or spend time with my family and Nora, so it actually works out pretty well for me.
Yeah, and it was a bit of an adjustment in the beginning. I can work flexible hours, so for me it wasn't like a time zone issue, but working the evening in terms of dinner and making plans for the evening, it was a little bit of an adjustment, but it works out really well right now. We're very much used to it and enjoying it.
Yeah, so in terms of time zone, Portugal's a win-win.
Look who decided to join us. Nora just woke up from her nap.
Star of the show.
Which also is part of reason number two for choosing Portugal. Family. My family lives back in the Netherlands, and when we decided to settle down somewhere and start a family of our own, I strongly felt like I wanted to be closer to my family back in the Netherlands, but not necessarily in the Netherlands.
For weather reasons and some other reasons. When we were living in Mexico at the time, when we were deciding where to live, we debated having our first baby in Mexico. We were already living there and we're like, it'd be cool for our baby to have a Mexican passport as well, because we did plan to have roots in Mexico as well and have like a part-time home base there.
Yeah, but Mexico is like a 10-hour flight from the Netherlands, and flying with a baby, I was just not so sure about it. I was thinking 3 to 4 hours for a flight to the Netherlands would be okay with me, for her too,
Yep.
And also for my family to visit us when they can or when they want to.
And it's been working out really well. We've flown to the Netherlands multiple times and her parents and family get to come visit us. It's pretty simple, 3-hour flight. It's not too expensive, so it's definitely a lot easier than flying all the way to Mexico.
Yeah, so we get to see each other multiple times a year, so that works out really well.
And reason number 3, surfing. In Mexico, I was surfing a lot, and surfing has become one of my main hobbies and was a priority for me when we choose a place to live. So that kind of narrowed down our choices over here in Europe to Spain, France, Portugal, some of the Nordic countries that have surf, but obviously the water gets a lot colder up there. But seeing as how we're next to the Atlantic Ocean, you have to wear a wetsuit over here. The water is cold in general, which obviously isn't as nice as Central America and Mexico where you don't have to wear a wetsuit. That's the good life, but it's a compromise. But Portugal has amazing surf. I would say it's probably the surf mecca of Europe. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
It has Nazare, which is home to the world's biggest wave. And then you have Ericeira, which is a world surf reserve. Yeah! And Nora's gonna grow up to be a surfer, aren't you? You could surf in Lisbon, down south in Sagres or the Algarve. There's surf breaks all up and down the coast. So that also kind of made it like a no-brainer.
Okay, reason number 4, sunny weather and outdoor lifestyle. We talked about the time zones. So with just the time zone, it selected basically Europe, Africa, South America. Then we said 4-hour flight from the Netherlands max. So that circles out basically Europe only. Then we said surf, which limits it to like Portugal, Spain, France, England, Ireland, maybe. And now the 4th reason is like we want to be in warm weather. Sorry, but England and Ireland are not that. So that left France, Spain, and Portugal.
Yeah, and I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's known for being extremely hot in the summer times. We get 365 days of sunshine a year, almost. And so that also makes it really good for motorcycle riding. The summers there are also torture. Like for 2 months out of the year, it gets up to like 115, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around
46.
Yeah, 46 to 50 Celsius. And then when I went on the remote year, which is a travel program I did for a whole year, I got really lucky with our itinerary and timing to where we were basically chasing summer for a whole year in all these different countries. So that kind of showed me the possibilities of just living places that have amazing weather.
So Portugal, amazing weather year round. We got beautiful beaches, lots of outdoor life, lots of, well, here in Lisbon, lots of parks.
In general, Portugal is a country that prioritizes like quality of life, and a lot of that has to do with nature. And reason number 5, which gets a little bit more technical, is visas and language and citizenship.
As an EU citizen, I can basically live and work anywhere within the EU. So that's pretty comfortable for me. And for Eric, as my husband, counts the same for him, as long as he's living at the same address as I am.
Most European countries have laws in place for immigration to where if you're married to a citizen of an EU country, as long as they have residence in that country, there's usually some path to where you can also get residency, which is what we did here in Portugal.
Yeah.
Residency is great and all, but thinking longer term for family planning, we wanted me to be able to get a passport of a European country. Naturally and intuitively, you would think, well, why didn't you just move to the Netherlands and get a Dutch passport because your wife is Dutch? And yeah, usually we would do that. If we did that, we would live in the Netherlands for 3 to 4 years, and then I'd take the language exam and a bunch of other things, and I could get the Dutch passport. But then again, when we come back to the topic of weather, we would be living in the Netherlands for that long. So we explored other alternative options. We did look at Spain because Spain was ultimately like one of our primary choices for language, because we had already been spending time in Mexico and invested a lot of time in learning Spanish. And while our Spanish isn't fluent, like it's pretty decent. But to get a Spanish passport would take 10 years, since Josine is not a Spaniard.
No.
And so yeah, even if she gets residency in Spain and then I get residency, it would take me 10 years, which is way too long. That was out of the question. We would rather just go to Netherlands and compromise on weather and other factors. So when we discovered that Portugal would allow me to get a passport in just 5-ish years, that was much more of an attractive option. Just a little bit longer than it would have taken in the Netherlands. And then, yeah, we get all the other benefits that we've been talking about with surf and the weather, etc. So learning Portuguese is a lot harder than Spanish in my experience. I'm taking Portuguese lessons right now, and it's much more challenging in my opinion. And I guess the majority of people I talk to think the same way. But it's a beautiful language, and I enjoy learning languages, so it's a happy compromise that I'm willing to make. To close it off, I think that's one of the reasons why so many people do immigrate to Portugal and why it's such a popular option for all the people that are immigrating here, is because they're very flexible and they have that 5-year benefit.
Reason number 6 is safety. Back in 2021, 2022, when we were making this decision of moving, Portugal was like number 4 in the Global Peace Index. And for years in a row, it was like the safest or one of the safest countries in the world. And for us, having the plan of starting a family and family life, safety was definitely an important factor for us. So yeah, knowing that Portugal is considered a safe country, like there's plenty of other safe countries, of course, but number 4 in the world was, it's pretty good. All right, so while Eric and Nora are gonna play for a bit, let me show you a couple of numbers that were important to us when we made this decision. As you can see, Portugal is listed here on number 4. This is the Global Peace Index of 2021. List of countries. For example, the US is not even in the first 80. It's actually on the next page. Right here, the United States of America, number 122. Besides this number, there's also school shootings that are terrifying. So we looked at the number of school shootings. This is the Statista, they do their research, and this is the number of incidents where a gun is fired or a bullet hits school property regardless of the number of victims per year. And as you can see, this number just went through the roof. And that's just scary for any parent. So yeah, these are just numbers to look at and that were important to us to make our decision. So yeah, in terms of safety, Portugal being in the top 5 of safest countries in the world, that was an important factor for us.
And reason number 7 is tax benefits. So this is a reason for all you financially savvy folks out there. When you're picking a country where you want to settle down, if your income is foreign sourced, a lot of the times there can be some tax programs that are really beneficial for you. Now, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details because that's just complicated and hairy, but if you are coming to Portugal and if you qualify, if your profession qualifies, there are some pretty sweet tax programs that you can apply for. Talking about the NHR program, or if you Google NHR 2.0, you'll find plenty of information on the internet that can guide the way. So that is also one of the reasons we chose here, is they had some pretty nice tax benefits. And to piggyback off of taxes and finances, that brings us to point number 8, cost of living.
Portugal is more affordable than many other Western European countries, but we're not talking about the rent in Lisbon. That is insanely expensive.
At least when you get closer to the city center. On the outskirts of Lisbon, it is definitely more affordable. I even saw a news headline a year or 2 ago that Lisbon was now the most expensive city in Europe, even on top of Amsterdam and London. I don't know if it holds that title still today, but yeah, it's been getting a bit out of control. Things like your daily expenses, such as gas, groceries, eating out, the cost of a cocktail or things like that.
Healthcare, education for kids. So you can have like a really high quality life here in Portugal without breaking the bank. So you can spend more money on adventures and experiences.
And reason number 9 is familiarity. We've actually been to Lisbon and Portugal multiple times in the past before we decided to move here. I first came here in the year 2017 with a program called Remote Year, where I spent the month in June here, which was amazing with its summer and St. Anthony's Festival being one of the biggest parties of the year. But me and my whole group, we fell in love with Portugal. In fact, multiple friends of mine from Remote Year have moved here. We actually managed to come here in 2020 during the winter seasons in November, which was pretty cool because we went to a big wave competition in Nazaré. So if you're ever lucky to do that, highly recommend it, the biggest waves in the world. But like I was saying, familiarity. We've been here multiple times. We fell in love with the culture and the food and the lifestyle.
Yeah, I've been here like many times before I met you too. So it's like, I think we just both fell in love with the country before we even met. So
yeah.
And that counts for
So
something.
it already kind of felt like home when we kept coming back here.
Reason number 10. Healthcare, important to us because, as said, starting a family, me being pregnant in a foreign country where I'm not sure about the healthcare was not an option. So a bit of research, I found out real quick that this healthcare system here, you have private hospitals, you have public hospitals, you have like so much to choose from. People were saying really good stuff about it. Most doctors speak English. So for me, that was already an indication of like this healthcare system. It works, it's high quality.
The birth experience that we had with Nora was amazing. Everything went well. We went to a hospital called Dalush, which translates to light.
Yep.
And one of the fanciest hospitals I've ever been in. And the hospital that I usually go to whenever I need care, which is called CUF, C-U-F. Also a really amazing high-tech hospital. I had to get hip surgery there. And I was impressed with all the service and the doctors, so.
Yeah. So knowing that you have access to good healthcare, that's an important point.
Reason number 11 is education. As we start thinking about building our family, we want to make sure our children have access to high quality and affordable education, and Portugal checks the box for that. It has a wide range of international schools available because of the large expat and immigrant community here. So in Lisbon and surrounding towns such as Cascais, Caparica, there are plenty of schools to choose from. The public schools are generally free, and even the private schools, depending on the level, if they're international or not, can vary in pricing, but overall there's lots of excellent choices here for education and schools.
Yeah, so whatever we choose, we know that Nora will be in a good spot in terms of education.
So there you have it, 11 practical reasons you should move to Portugal.
All right, so there you have it, our 11 practical reasons why we decided to move to Lisbon, Portugal and make it our home base for years to come.
From time zone to family nearby, to surf, to safety, all things considered, Portugal just checks all the boxes for us.
And it's not just a beautiful place to visit on vacation, although it makes a great vacation spot. It's truly an amazing place to live, and we're excited to see what it has in store for our family over the coming years.
We know that there's probably many more reasons to move to Portugal. So if you're living here or if you're thinking about moving to Portugal, share your reasons in the comments. We'd love to hear more reasons and hype this country up even more.
And if you have any questions,
Oh, you got one?
if you have any questions about moving to Portugal, like things about visas, taxes, immigrations, or how you can apply, drop us a comment down below. We'll be happy to respond, or reach out to us in our DMs on Instagram, that's at Nations Without Borders, or you can just go to our main website at nationswithoutborders.com, that you can get in touch with us there. As always, if you want to see more videos like this about Portugal or Lisbon in general, please like and subscribe. It helps us create more content like this. For now, we'll say goodbye, ciao, adios, and we'll see you on next week's episode.
Adios. Bye-bye.